Welcome back to another Elite Ace Aviation video. In today's video, we talk about the Boeing 737 MAX returning to the air as the FAA has now cleared the once dangerous and deadly aircraft to fly again. If you like aviation videos, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. Now let's get into the video. The Boeing 737 MAX was originally released to compete with the Airbus A320neo in 2015, but just a short 3 years later, devastation would strike the 737 MAX line when an aircraft from Lion Air Flight 610 would crash not long after takeoff on October 29, 2018, killing all 189 passengers and crew. 5 months later, an almost identical crash occurred on Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, when all 157 people died, including 22 United Nations employees. Shortly after the crash in March of 2019, China ordered the first immediate grounding of Chinese-owned 737 MAX aircraft, with countries from around the world to follow shortly after, with all 387 aircraft grounded. At the time of the grounding, the 737 MAX was fulfilling 8,600 flights per week from 59 airlines. Investigators said faults by Boeing, Lion Air, and pilots had caused the crash. In the 353-page accident report, investigators pointed to a crucial sensor, which had been brought from a repair shop in Florida but had not been properly tested, the report found. The sensor fed information to the plane's Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, or also known as MCAS. That software, which is designed to help prevent the 730 MAX from stalling, had been a focus for investigators trying to find the cause of both the Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines crashes. The NTSB found that the pilots in both crashes were bombarded with multiple alarms and alerts in the cockpit before the planes crashed. The alarms then caused more confusion for the pilots, making the already tense situation even worse. Months after the crash, pilots jumped into the 737 MAX simulator to recreate what the pilots would have been dealing with on one of these doomed flights. The pilots found that the MCAS system would trim the aircraft nose down at approximately 40 degrees every 5 seconds. After approximately 5 seconds of the aircraft systems taking over the aircraft, the plane would then settle for another 5 seconds before the software would again take over, nosediving the aircraft, leaving the pilots completely helpless. So with all that said, is the Boeing 737 MAX safe to fly again, and if so, when will the aircraft resume service? The FAA recently gave the go-ahead for the plane to once again take passengers, lifting the grounding that had been in place since 2019. So now for the fix. Boeing says that they have now changed the software running the aircraft, so now they can take account for 2 sensors communicating with MCAS instead of 1. The anti-stall system will now no longer kick repeatedly, meaning the pilot should be able to regain control of the aircraft. Boeing also upgraded their training material so that pilots are aware of the potential issues regarding software and systems. In addition to these changes, there will now come standard in all 737 MAX aircraft, a warning if the sensors fail. Boeing says the MAX will now be the safest airplane ever to fly. American Airlines will be, as of the recording of this video, the first airline to announce its first flight back with a 737 MAX on December 29, 2020. The European Aviation Safety Agency recently announced a formal proposal to unground the aircraft, followed by a 28-day consultation period. There was one thing for sure, the 737 MAX story has received a ton of coverage the past few years, and rightfully so. Anytime hundreds of people are killed in an airline disaster, especially when this can be contributed to the fault of the software aircraft systems, it is a must that the aircraft manufacturers and aviation industry learn from the past so that aviation industry can remain the safest way to travel. In the comments below, we want to know, would you fly on the first flight back on the 737 MAX? Why or why not? But that'll do it for this Elite Ace Aviation video, and until next time, happy flying.